Rev your engines and fasten your seatbelts. It's time for Thunder Talk with Dan Bailey, keeping you up to date on everything going on this season at Mississippi Thunder Speedway. Thunder Talk is powered by Arcadia Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Now, here's your host, Dan Bailey.
Hey race fans, welcome back to another edition of Thunder Talk. I'm Dan Bailey. We are so pleased at Mississippi Thunder Speedway to be welcoming back for another visit the DiscountShopTowels.com Dirt King Late Model Touring Series. We are looking so forward to this Friday night's special event, the $5,000 to win DiscountShopTowels.com Dirt King Late Model Touring Series Rumble by the River 40, presented by Herco and Stone Machinery. And I'm so happy to be welcoming to the program a gentleman who's coming off a win on the tour, none other than Brad Miller. Brad, first of all, welcome to Thunder Talk this week.
How are you this fine evening?
I am doing very well. Thank you very much. So, coming off a win, the most recent event for the Dirt Kings allows you to bring a little momentum to this Friday night's program at Mississippi Thunder Speedway. But behind the wheel, does that momentum translate from a track such as Angel Park, where you picked up the win, to Mississippi Thunder Speedway?
Well, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what kind of track you go to. You got a lot of momentum coming your way. We came off a win on Saturday at Plymouth and a win off Sunday at Angel Park. And now this being with the car that I barrel rolled a month ago at Plymouth at the Rush Scheffler Memorial Race. So we spent a lot of time preparing this car again, and the boys at MB Customs took great care of me, got it all taken care of, and we brought her back to the shop, finished her up. We were ready to go to Shawano a couple weeks ago, and unfortunately that show got rained out, and Plymouth got rained out the week later. So our first race on it was Plymouth Saturday, which we won, and then we went to Angel Park, and we got the deed done there.
You know, I've spoken with so many drivers through the years who make some sort of a similar comment that you just did. They may have a car that they just can't get to work the way they want it to, and through some unfortunate circumstance it gets bent way out of shape. Then they kind of rejig it, and all of a sudden it's just a new machine. Is that a mental thing? Is that really the car that's been put back to just the perfect alignment for you? Your comments on a scenario like that?
You know, I've seen it go both ways. So a lot of the asphalt cars we race, they get 4, 5, 6 years on them. And they kind of start to lose their luster a little bit. Seems like every time you go and put a clip on it, then the car brings the car back to life. It's like you got a brand new car again. I'm sure the same goes for dirt late models. Fortunately, we did not have any frame damage on this car, so it was just all the jewelry that's bolted to it that got wrecked. We brought it back, and we were leading the race, unfortunately, that we flipped at, and it came back just as strong as the night we wrecked it. So just a tribute to what a great job the guys at MB Customs do and the guys in my shop do, and put a great piece back underneath me again.
You know, you made a reference in passing just a moment ago that some race fans on our side of the state may not be familiar with, and that is the fact that you are one of those very rare gems in the grassroots racing world. You're pulling double duty, not only hitting the dirt tracks, but also a very stellar career on asphalt as well. When it gets down to brass tacks, which one is your home? Which one do you love?
That's a pretty loaded question.
Yeah.
I cut my teeth early in the late 80s racing at Plymouth on the dirt from 87 to 93. And you remember a name by the name of Robbie Reiser, who was crew chief for Matt Kenseth and Winston Cup. Robbie and I grew up together, and when Robbie quit to go down south to go run his Busch Series, I bought all of his asphalt equipment. I've been running super lates at Slinger Super Speedway since 1994. So we've had a great career there, a lot of feature wins, a lot of fast times. We got 3 championships there in 03, 04, and 05. And then shortly after that, I decided, you know what, I want to start having some fun on the dirt again. So me and a couple of my crew guys got together. We built ourselves a Dirt Sportsman, and we really enjoyed that. Ran it for a couple of years. And my brother-in-law had a Masterbuilt from Mars car that he wanted to sell in 2008. So guess what? We're back in a dirt late model again.
Anybody who has never been to Slinger but probably doesn't realize just what they're missing out on. I mean, that track is pretty iconic. I mean, in my opinion, I would say coast to coast, but most definitely, here in the upper Midwest. My question about Slinger and you having such great success there, does carrying the extreme speeds on such a tight bull ring week after week and year after year, is that the sort of thing that keeps you as a driver on your toes?
I'll tell you right now, it makes you a lot sharper of a driver when you race at Slinger, because everything happens so fast. They call it the fastest quarter mile in the world on asphalt. And our cars, like Sunday, for instance, Luke Fenhouse had fast time, turned in 11:14.
I know.
So you're going in a quarter mile circle with a 35-degree bank and low 11s. That's cooking. That's an average speed of like 85 miles an hour. So we're hitting just over 100 miles an hour coming into turn 3 at Slinger. So it's a very speedy little place, and things happen very fast there, and it really keeps you sharp when you race there from week to week.
How about making that transition, not through the length of a career, but week in and week out? How about making that transition back and forth between asphalt and dirt? Is it as difficult and demanding as it may sound to a race fan? Or through the years, has it just become another part of your behind-the-wheel career that you've just figured out and kind of gotten used to?
I have a lot of people ask me, how do you go from being completely sideways on Saturday night to being glued to a racetrack going straight on Sunday nights? And I guess it's just something that I've done for so many years that you just adapt to it. You know, Al Schill started it many years ago. He used to race asphalt and dirt every week. And you look at guys like A.J. Foyt and you look at Tony Stewart, and now, for instance, you have Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson can win anywhere. It's something that you just get a knack for. You know, it's not easy by any means, you know, and it takes a long time to be, you know, on top of your game in both. And I never ran a street stock on the asphalt or a modified or anything like that. I went right to super lates in 1994, and to be able to run super lates in the dirt and a super late in the asphalt, it's not an easy deal, especially these days with all the technology and the resources you need. You really got to be on top of your game. And when I've been my own crew chief for most of my life, it really tries your brain, that's for sure.
Now, I'm going to preface my follow-up question by stating that I understand that success comes with or is based upon a lot of experience. But I also remember a conversation I had with Kenny Schrader several years ago, and we were talking about going from track to track in different racing venues. And he said, well, at the end of the day, they're all just a circle that you have to figure out how to get around. And sometimes drivers will overthink it. Now, as I said, I know you have to have that experience and that knowledge to do it, but do you ever find that some drivers do indeed just overthink the concept of getting behind the wheel and hitting the track?
I think most of us drivers out there overthink it before we get there. You know, last year I built a brand new MB Custom, and my first race was at your track at Mississippi Thunder. And I had never driven this car yet. I never practiced it. I didn't do anything with it. I actually sat in the seat and buckled the belts for the first time when I got to your racetrack. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we had 42 or 43 cars. And we made the race, and I don't know where we ended up, 15, 16, something like that, with our first night in the car. So I was pretty happy with, all things considered, that I had never driven it before and to be able to get in. So you just have to be open-minded when you go in, and you got to be ready to expect the worst and hope that everything goes great.
Well, I want to ask you about this return visit to Mississippi Thunder Speedway with the discount shop Towels.com Dirt King Late Model Touring Series. But first, I want to give you an opportunity to send some shout-outs to those businesses, supporters, sponsors who are helping out your efforts through this 2021 season.
Well, first and foremost, Mueller Sales and Service is our family business. We sell cars, trucks, trailers, boats, you name it, we do it all. And we got Sunset Auto Service, we have RPM Marketing, Suburban Motors, Harley-Davidson, Dr. Dan Witkowski Dentistry, Hupp Farm, North Farm Landscaping, Galnick Sons Street Service. I've got a whole bunch of them on there to list. All good people in our area that love to come watch auto racing and that have been great supporters for me for a long time.
And you are going to be bringing all those supporters with you this Friday night when you return to Mississippi Thunder Speedway. So let's talk about that return. You had mentioned that you were at the track last year, first time bolting yourself into that particular car. A couple of questions here for this Friday night. First of all, what are your expectations about getting on track this Friday night? And second, after those expectations, what would it take for you to consider this a successful trip west in Wisconsin?
Well, here's the way I look at it. You guys have so many great WISSOTA competitors on that side of the state. I mean, it's stacked over there. So any given night, you guys got a different winner, and they're all good. I mean, there's we have our few. We have our half a dozen guys at Plymouth, and we have our half a dozen guys at Shawano that can win on any given week. You come over to your side of the state, and there's a dozen guys that can win plus any night of the week there. So, you have your Jimmy Marses and your AJ Demos and your John Cantas and your Jesse Glenn's, your James Giossis and Rick Hannisteds, and I'm sure I'm missing a bunch more like Pat Dorr and guys that I've watched, I keep track of, and I'm like, boy, these guys are really on their game over there. So we better have our program together when we unload, that's for sure. So I told the boys, if we can get over there, I mean, I'm expecting there's going to be between 30 and 40 cars there again. I said if we could run good in the heat, get a good starting spot in the future, if we could run in the top 10 with these guys, that would be a good run for us.
Well, we will all definitely be watching the number 89 because you're coming off the most recent win on the DiscountShopTowels.com Dirt King Late Model Touring Series 2021 season. So at this point in time, you're the man in the Golden Throne. You're the man who most recently held the checkered flag and was able to celebrate in your victory lane. So everyone will be hyper-focused on you to see how you're going to be able to compete against the competition, and likewise how that competition is going to be able to compete against you. So, Brad Miller, I tell you what, thank you very much for taking some time to join us on Thunder Talk this week, and we will see you Friday at Mississippi Thunder Speedway, all right?
Sounds great. I appreciate you having me on.
Brad Miller and the rest of the DiscountShopTowels.com Dirt King Late Model Touring Series competitors will be at Mississippi Thunder Speedway this Friday night for the Rumble by the River 40, presented by Herco and Stone Machinery. Make sure that you check out Mississippi Thunder Speedway's social media for all the details, start times, how you can be involved with this Friday night's program. And of course, don't forget to point your favorite web browser to the official Mississippi Thunder Speedway website, MississippiThunder.com.
That was Thunder Talk, keeping you up to date on everything going on at Mississippi Thunder Speedway. Thunder Talk is powered by Arcadia Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram.
You ever notice that when you're on a fishing trip, you drive your boat all the way to the other side of the lake because you think that's where the best fishing is? And the people staying at the cabins on that side of the lake, well, they come and fish where your cabin is. You don't have to drive a long ways to catch the big fish. And at Arcadia Motors, you don't have to drive a long ways to get the best deal on a new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram truck. The best deals are right in the bay next to your cabin. Take the short, scenic drive to Arcadia Motors. ArcadiaDodge.com.